Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Elden Ring PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we're taking a look at the Golem's Halberd. This is a weapon that is dropped from any golem that wields it. It is roughly a 10% drop chance, so you will have to farm just a bit, but it is not terribly difficult to get, so good luck. Hopefully you get it quickly. This weapon is one that I'm not too terribly fond of. Despite the fact that it says that it has piercing attacks, the only attack that this weapon has that deals piercing damage is the default skill of the weapon, which is Charge Forth. All the other attacks on this weapon are not piercing, so keep that in mind, and let's go ahead and get started with the basics. The weapon requires 36 strength and 14 dexterity to wield, and it weighs 21.5 units, making it one of the heaviest weapons in the game. It has Charge Forth by default for its skill, as I said, and at plus 25, it has a physical base damage on the heavy scaling of 336 and an A scaling in strength. No dexterity scaling. This weapon is able to be buffed as well, which is actually something that makes it somewhat unique among its class. It has that ability, and you can add even more damage to its already quite high attack rating. Now, as far as the pros of this weapon, there are a few of them. The damage on it is pretty decent when you manage to actually land a hit. And it also has quite a good amount of hyper armor, especially on the two-handed R2s. One of the nice things with those two-handed R2s is that no one ever expects the second swing. And that makes it so that the first swing is great bait. And people will walk into it and, well, get hit. It works well. Now, there are some strange things with this weapon. We'll get into those in a minute. Let's just talk about the skills that work well with this thing real quick. First and foremost, Charge Forth is actually quite good on this weapon, as you guys just saw. The unfortunate thing about it is you can only use it if you don't put an ash on the weapon. So that's kind of weird that it has a default ash, and yet it's not an option to put on it should you want to. So you will definitely lose out on a good amount of damage just by going with its default skill, which is arguably one of the better skills for the weapon. It's really, truly a shame. So keep that in mind, that this weapon actually may serve you extremely well if you don't put an ash on it. Aside from that, though, of course, it has the usual contenders for good ashes. Warcry and Barbaric Roar are always nice. Lion's Claw is fine if you want to go for trades. And Golden Land is actually a pretty decent one on this weapon, because it forces people to dodge the Golden Land attack itself, and then you can aim for a roll catch with the weapon. Now, in this fight, you've seen me swing my weapon through him a number of times. This weapon has some weird blind spots going on with it, and that's the biggest con. Here's an example of those blind spots in action. Yeah, the clip really goes to speak for itself. They are definitely there, but they're also somewhat inconsistent, and it's not just the R2s. It happened in that previous fight with an attack as well, so this weapon, I want to like it. I really, truly want to like this weapon, but with the blind spots, it's just honestly kind of disappointing and annoying to use. And I feel like there are certain things with the weapon that could easily be fixed that would make it so much better. And maybe we'll see those in a patch, but a list of things that would make the weapon better would be, first off, the rolling and crouch attack where you slam the weapon into the ground with the point. That should be piercing damage. It's not, but it should be, in my opinion. That would be nice. The ability to have Charge Forth as an ash you can put on the weapon so you're not just losing out on damage. That would be good. That would make sense. But again, that's not an option we have. And then, aside from those, just the funky hitboxes, the blind spots, like, what's with that? It's just so strange. And, you know, it is what it is, but it really keeps the weapon from being as enjoyable as it could be. I get it, it is a colossal weapon, so of course the con of it being slow to swing and slow to recover, that's fine. That makes sense. I get that, and I expect that going into a weapon of this type. However, the other issues, they just are too glaring. of problems to really make up for it. And sure, you can sort of mitigate it by going with certain ashes that have better hitboxes, that have good tracking, but it doesn't change the fact that the weapon's moveset is inherently flawed. And that's a problem. It's really kind of a big problem. Is it completely horrible to use? Did I have an absolutely awful time using the weapon? No, not true. I had a good time using the weapon overall. But because of those glaring issues that it has with its moveset and with its hitboxes, if it just had those things fixed, which isn't a big ask, it would be just so much better of a weapon, so much more enjoyable, and overall more reliable, because that's really the big thing with this weapon that I dislike. I can hit someone, or at least have it appear as though I hit someone, my weapon goes straight through their body. And yet, well, evidently it doesn't, because those hitboxes are not active in those positions. So keep that in mind if you're going to use this weapon. You really need to be very precise with where you free aim any kind of attack. If your opponent is on your side, you need to unlock and aim your attack at them. You cannot rely on the swing of the hitbox, the swing of the weapon to have an active hitbox, because it doesn't. So keep that in mind when you're using this thing. If you do keep it in mind while you're using it, you'll have a better time. So it is what it is. The weapon really is better off when fully free-aimed than it is when using the target lock, but it's still a bit disappointing that it's necessary to have it come to that. So that's about all I've got on this thing. If I keep going on with the commentary, I'm probably just going to keep ranting a tad. At the end of the day, it is nice that it has a good high attack rating. The damage on the weapon is good. It's nice that it can be buffed, so if you did put it on a muscle mage build, so you had that as an option, you know, there's good things going for it. The unreliability aspect is just what kills it for me. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's all I can really say about it. Either way, though, there are 2 fights left in the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I hope you've enjoyed my rant and enjoyed me tripping over my words today. It has been a very interesting time with this weapon, and overall, somewhat enjoyable and also somewhat frustrating. So let me know, if you guys have used this thing, what do you think? Do you share my opinion of the weapon? Do you have the same experience that I had with it? What ashes do you use on it? What do you like to use? Do you like to use Golden Land, or do you like to use something else? Do you like to use Prelight's Charge? I had a fun time with it here at the end. Let me know what you all think. Either way, thank you again for stopping by. I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, do all the YouTube stuff for me. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.